Hello, everyone. Thank you to Earth Hacks and the sponsors of this Climate Hackathon, Generation Conscious, for inviting me to say a few words today. During these 12 plus hours of programming, you are all going to get to the very heart of our intergenerational and intersectional fight to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and develop the tools necessary to usher in a clean and just transition away from a fossil fuel-based economy. I'm fighting hard on the floor of the United States Senate to uphold these same priorities and to make sure that the scale of our response to the climate crisis matches the scope of that crisis. And it's young people from all across our country who are joining this hackathon this weekend because they know that when we say climate change is an existential threat, we're not talking about an abstract danger far off in the future. We are talking about problems we are facing right now here in Massachusetts, in the United States, and all across our planet. We are the ones who must confront this crisis, and we cannot wait. In Washington, I'm fighting to finish our work to make sure that any bill that we put on President Biden's desk matches the magnitude of the threat. It's got to be at least a 50% reduction in greenhouse gases in our country by 2030 so that Joe Biden can go to Glasgow and say, we're finally about to do it. And we can absolutely clean up our air, clean up our water, create millions of union jobs if we do that. And we have to do environmental justice mapping because unless you measure it, you can't solve that problem. And that's why Congresswoman Cori Bush and I have introduced that legislation, which will be in this bill. And it's why I've introduced with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez a civilian climate corps so that we will have hundreds of thousands of young people who will go out there and do the work with a civilian climate corps, and 50% of the jobs will come from environmental justice communities, and 50% of the money will be in those communities. That's what we have to do. We have to work in a way that reflects what young people have told our country we must do. And I know that young people are rising up all over our country, all over our world, to finally create the pressure and the activism necessary to push decision makers to act boldly to save our planet. It is time for Congress to act and to act decisively. So I'm looking forward to fighting alongside all of you for everything that you are doing to build a coalition to combat climate crisis so that at some point children have to look to the history books to find that there ever was such a thing. So thank you for joining this weekend's hackathon. Thank you for your research, for your activism, for your perseverance, for your voice, because you have been the key in changing the way the politics of our country views these issues. Thank you all so much for what you are doing.